Karen slammed a folded notice on my windshield. Remove unauthorized dock. 41207. Stamped, received, 03:17 a.m. in Rajta. My wife, Jane, just stared at it. They filed this in the middle of the night, she said. I could still smell lake water on the paper. That hour alone told me everything they didn't expect anyone to check. By breakfast, fines were already posted online. Neighbors started whispering. But Jane didn't shout. She opened the binder, clicked her pen, and said, "We'll log every lie." That's when I knew this wasn't about a dock, it was about proof. That's when I decided to show up at the meeting. That stamp says received 0317, and they want my dock gone. I keep my voice flat. The paper does the shouting. Fluorescents buzz like gnats over the admin desk. Henderson presses a tissue to his forehead and won't meet my eyes. The office smells like toner and lemon cleaner, a mix built to erase people. Jane sits straight, hands folded, the picture of calm. "State what happened," he says. Jane nods. "A notice was served at our residence. Separate from school matters. Keep it to the incident," Henderson murmurs. The incident the nurse echoes, stepping in with a clipboard. Vital signs normal. No acute distress. I lean on the counter. "Say the words you wrote." She reads steady. "Mild erythema on subject's anterior neck, nonspecific, and no functional impairment observed." Henderson clears his throat. "Thank you, Ms. Driscoll." Jane turns to me. "We're fine," she says. "Stay precise." "Precise is all I have," I answer. The copier beeps and spits a form. Somewhere down the hall a stamp thunks once heavy as a gavel. For a heartbeat the room freezes. No one wants to own that sound. Henderson slides 2 signature lines across. "Acknowledgement. You were notified of the review," he says. Notified, I repeat. That's a fun word. Jane touches my sleeve. "Scott." I sign. The pen feels cheap. The moment feels expensive. We step outside into late sun and quiet air that smells faintly of cut grass. Across the lake, my dock sits where it sat for years, 2 planks newly sealed, a coil of rope neat as a diagram. That sight steadies me more than any speech. The lake doesn't care about board meetings. "Let's log the morning," Jane says. Times, names, forms. "Still precise," I say. The breeze flips a sheet on my windshield. Not tucked under the wiper, pressed there like a verdict. White cardstock. Weighty. I slide it free. My thumb feels the ridge of an embossed seal. "HOA," I say. Jane stands beside me. "Read it." I read. "Order to remove unauthorized dock or structure. Reference 1207. Failure to comply may result in daily fines, lien consideration, and common area access suspension." She breathes once. Check the stamp. Lower corner. Raised ink. Received 0317. The time punches harder than the threat. I lift my phone. Click. Photo of the seal. Then the page. Then the envelope corner where a clerk's date barely peeks. I turn the sheet. See the line about approved shoreline plan on file. I laugh one short bark. Approved plan. We filed our plan when we bought the place. Jane save commentary for later. Document now. Right. I lay it on the truck bed, edges squared to the grooves, shoot 3 angles. Proof doesn't raise its voice. She smiles small. Say it again in the log. I dictate into the notes app. 1407, front lot. Item, HOA, dock removal order. Seal, present. Fiard 1207, cited. Stamp shows received, 0317. Photos taken. Add who found it. Scott Summers, home owner, Ikisei. With Jane Summers as witness. Phones away. We stand and look down our street. Karen's SUV is parked 2 houses over driver window, just low enough for a hand to wave. It doesn't. She doesn't need to. The paper already waved for her. Jane faces the lake instead. "We'll pull the plat," she says. "Overlay with the HOA shoreline map. Maps remember what people forget I say. Exactly. We head for the post office before the crowd. I like the old brass scale there, the way the clerk stamps things like they matter. The bell above the door gives that shop-worn ring, and the room smells of cardboard and dust. Certified copy request, I say. County plat and easement records. Willow Creek Lane. The clerk slides a form through the slot. Initial here. You want return receipt? Yes, I say, and 2 copies of this. I slide the order under glass. She squints at the seal, then the time. Her brows lift. 3:17, I nod. She doesn't comment, just feeds it under the copier lid. The stamp, thunk, lands again when she marks the receipt stub. A little chorus of thuds document music. Outside, the light has shifted. Henderson's voicemails start pinging my phone, but I ignore them. I angle the order against the truck mirror and take one more photo with the dock in frame across the water. Document, then context. That goes in the log, too. Back to the admin office, Jane asks. Briefly, I say. One more thing. We walk in and Henderson looks like he never moved. He startles at our return. Something else, Mr. Summers. Just adding to your record, I say. I place the copy of the order on the counter and gently the receipt stub with the fresh date. We'll be requesting the plat overlay from county. The order cites Pierre 12-07. We believe it's misapplied. Henderson blinks. That's not my job. I know. I keep my tone level. Please note that we're documenting service time irregularities on the notice. I point at the bottom corner. Received, 03:17. The nurse passes by and pauses. She studies the raised seal. Emboss is clean, she says mostly to herself. It's clean, I agree. Wrong, but clean. From the doorway, a pair of voices whirl like gossip on wheels. Cole laughs under his breath. Karen's heels tap out a 3 count. She spots the paper and gives a small, mocked smile. You get our memo? She says to the room in general. Got yours, I say. And the time. Some of us work early, she says, pleased with her own line. Some of us read the bylaws, Jane answers even. We'll bring the map. Karen's smile freezes. Maps, she says. Sweet? Cole snorts. It's just a dock. I let the line hang there a mini-ledge for anyone listening. It's just our easement, I say. Henderson coughs into his sleeve. The copier wakes again. The room smells like hot paper. I slide our copy back into a clear sleeve, press the edge until the seal catches the plastic. It looks colder that way, like evidence under glass. Scott Jane says quietly, We're done here. We step out. Sun drops a notch behind the trees and the water throws coins of light against the shoreline. I take one last photo, the boundary pin at our property line, the brass head polished by wind and years sitting exactly where the survey said it should. I say it to the recorder so I won't forget the phrasing later, pin visible and true to plat. Shoreline structure within easement. A boat motors by, slow its wake, tick-ticking under the dock. I listen to that rhythm until my jaw unclenches. Jane nudges me. We'll need the overlay by tomorrow. We'll get it, I say, and we'll log everything. She nods, then points to the lower corner of the order still in my hand. The numbers catch the sun. It cites #12-07, she says, and it's wrong. 2 envelopes, 2 fines, 1 dock ultimatum. Steam rises from our porch mugs. I lay the envelopes between them like coasters. Jane taps the first. Grass height. I tap the second. Trash cans. She glances toward the lake. And the dock. Always the dock. Violation. Grass exceeds 3.5 inches. I mowed Tuesday, I say. You measured Tuesday, she asks. Today, we measure. The other envelope receptacles visible 4 hours after collection. Jane exhales. We're done reacting. We start documenting. The orange binder opens with a click. The dock removal order slides in, first labeled Order, 412-07. Received, 03-17. Certified mail slips follow. I highlight the bylaw line Unauthorized Structure and underline Record. Buddy shuffles up the walk, coffee steaming. Morning Summers. Thought I'd smell fire. Paper, not fire, I say. Jane smiles thinly. We'll build a compliant machine. By noon, the HOA duo appears with clipboards and beige swatches. Trim shade verification, one says. Jane lifts a tape measure. Grass inspection is scheduled next. They hesitate. We'll be documenting, she adds. I snap a photo, every minute timestamps glowing. Buddy, across the street. Free show, Compliance Theater, I call. Then I'll buy season tickets. When they bend to the lawn, I run the mower once. Jane kneels, checks the blade height. 2.9, she says. Photo, I answer. She smiles. Rules aren't shields for bullies. The clipboard man clears his throat. We only enforce. You enforce selectively, Jane replies. We'll enforce consistently on ourselves. They mark boxes retreat. Evening brings Facebook glow. Karen posts worrisome behavior near the lake. No names, none needed. I read 2 lines, close the app. Noise, Jane asks. Noise, measurable by volume. We screenshot and slip it into the binder. Another ounce of proof. At dusk, the bulletin board holds our checklist mow, measure, photo. Cans stowed, photo. Dock order, index. I press a push pin. Silent beat. Buddy returns with a small box. Spare lot camera. Mounted curbside. Level with the driveway, I say. He nods. I'll feed it to my system. Shared folder. 1 click. Appreciate it. Night settles. Porch bulb hums. The camera pings motion at the yard edge. A figure crouches shaking something from a bag. Jane leans close. Pause there. I freeze the frame. Screenshot. Tag unknown. Lawn 2213. They'll call it maintenance, she says. They'll call it fertilizer. In the morning, a yellow square. I reply. I file the image under compliance photos note, suspected sabotage document only. Discipline heavier than any fine. Front porch to binder in a day, Jane says. Faster beats louder. She taps the dock order sleeve. Tomorrow, we file certified requests. And start our own schedule county clerk post office, I say. And trim again on camera, she adds. I close the binder. The rings click like a latch. Scott, she says softly, you can be angry. Just be accurate. Accuracy will do. The street dims 1 porch at a time. I write the last line on our checklist, policy over document. Over-communicate. Under-react. Then I press the pin deeper. Silent beat. The camera pings again. A car idles plate clear in the lens, then rolls on. Jane stands. Enough for tonight. Not done. I say, stacking the binder. Order bylaws mail photos. She nods toward the list. Last box. I check it. It feels like a small, lawful victory. We'll play by every rule, I say, switching off the light, and write our own receipts. The drawer slides open. The clerk's gloved fingers tap a plat sleeve. The projector hums steady. Silent beat. Block and lot, she asks. Willow Creek Lane, parcel 52. And I say, certified copy plus easement. She threads microfilm like she's done it 1,000 times. Grainy lines bloom across the screen streets, the lake our thin slice of shore. Here's your boundary pin, she says. And here, shoreline easement. Need a print with the seal, I tell her. 2 prints, Jane adds. For the binder and the hearing. The clerk nods, presses the button, feeds each sheet under the embosser. Seal, thunk. I feel the ridge with my thumb, the county's gravity in that bump of wax and paper. Easement text is on reel B, she says, switching cartridges. Paragraph 3's what you want. She focuses the lens. The words swim into clarity. Easement grants riparian access, including temporary landing or dock within setback, provided no encroachment into navigable channel. Jane exhales. Read it again. The clerk repeats it slower. I write it on a diner napkin because I trust coffee-stained paper more than politics. I underline dock within setback hard enough to dent the formica. Certified copies, I ask. She slides a receipt across. Initial here. stamped 10/42. The stamp lands like punctuation. My shoulders ease for the first time all week. The diner, 2 blocks away, smells of bacon and copier toner. 3 mugs hit the table. Coffee rings halo the plat between salt and pepper. Buddy was right, I tell Jane. We needed witnesses. He'll volunteer for pie, she says. Buddy arrives hat in hand. Someone say pie. I point to the clause. Setback allows a dock. Not rumor law. He grins. Maps remember what people forget. Say it again, I tell him. Maps remember what people forget. I box the line in my notes. Viral quote secured. The bell over the door jingles. My brother walks in, badge, half-hidden tie, crooked. Mentor enters. Morning, he says. You texted doc plus mail. That's new. Mail's your lane, I say. Doc's our headache. He studies the plat. Show me their map. I unfold the HOA sketch Karen had posted online. He overlays it on the county print, eyes narrowing. They drew a stylized shoreline, he says, not the surveyed one. That's optimistic. Optimistic, how Jane asks. Stylized lines drift, he says. Surveys don't. If they cited 412-07 on this, their case rests on fog. Mailbox, I ask. He sips coffee. You logged that car from last night. 2 angles, clear plate. Good. Pattern of certified notices plus vandalism risk puts it near my jurisdiction. Keep every slip and timestamp. If they press through the mail again, it turns federal. Jane nods. We'll measure, not bluff. The waitress refills cups and retreats. My brother pulls a small ruler from his pocket. Overlay, time. At home, the tool bench glows like a light table. I tape the county plat beneath glass, lay the HOA map on top. The lake shines through like an X-ray. A line north, Jane says. Aligned. We drop the easement paragraph beside it. I mark the boundary pin with red ink exactly where the county said it lived. Setback distance, my brother asks. Measured from the recorded shore, Jane says. Not from someone's artwork. I slide the straight edge, trace the semicircle for the setback. The dock lands inside it clean. Within setback, I say, and clear of the channel, she adds. Photo, he says. I take 3 both maps, paragraph close-up, straight edge line. He points to the laminator. Seal that truth. The sheet feeds through. The embossed seal catches the plastic like a fossil. I tilt it toward the window. The ridge glints gold. Buddy whistles. That's pretty righteous. Pretty legal, I answer. Jane labels folders, county plat, certified easement, text, certified HOA plan, unrecorded. A new divider reads shoreline overlay. My brother checks the mailbox photo. Expect them to claim the curb. City owns it, plus the postal service. Keep your camera running. Understood. Jane stacks the certified pages, lays the clerk receipt on top. At the hearing, we'll ask who drew their shoreline. Buddy grins. You're gonna pull their tablecloth. Slowly, I say. We step back. The layered maps glow county line steady, HOA curve wandering like gossip. Record it, Jane says. I dictate easement grants riparian access including temporary landing or dock within setback. County plat confirms structure inside setback, no channel encroachment. Perfect, my brother says. Attach it to the back. Printer hums. Adhesive sheet hisses. I smooth the air bubbles until the page looks museum-ready. Next step, Buddy asks. Certified request for their drawings provenance, Jane says. Chain of custody signatures. And we keep mowing on camera, I add. Matinee performance, Buddy quips. The laminator clicks off. I unplug the light. Afternoon leaks through blinds and stripes. Jane studies the dock photo. We finally have proof. My brother caps his pen. Make them read their map out loud. The room quiets to the soft hum of the refrigerator. I hold the laminated page up. The seal catches one last sliver of sun. The map disagrees, I say. The motion alert blinks on my phone. Cam 0315. Flashes red in the corner. The street hums low like a generator under load. Jane steps beside me at the kitchen counter. Same angle. Birdhouse cam, I say. Gate in full frame. I scrub the timeline. The night is awash of grayscale and dew. Then a sleeve slides in at the edge. A hand floats to the latch, deliberate, confident, like it owns the dark. Pause, Jane says. I freeze it. The timestamp 03:15 stamps the corner. Our porch light halos the metal. The hand is crisp. The latch shines like a witness. Silent beat, only the paper sorter ticks on the credenza. Grab the UV, she says. Let's confirm the transfer. I pull the UV flashlight from the binder pocket and click it on. The latch blooms a pale nebula, our dust blooming back at us. Jane lifts the still from the screen. Hand on the latch 03:15 and pins it to our table. Grid. Receipts are louder than rumors, I say. She points to the next folder. Plate captures, she says. Curb cam at 22:44 and 22:57. I print both stills. Numbers read clear. We line them under a tab called Plate Hits and slide the certified mail slips into a sleeve above. On the binder spine, I write neat and square Doc Q T packet filed Cheshire 1207 received. Buddy knocks once and comes in with his mug. Your porch light owes me royalties, he says, then stops when he sees the board. That's tidy. Jane nods at the grid. TTRO packet. Touch plus plate plus statute plus easement plus smear timeline. TTRO, he asks. Temporary restraining order targeted and temporary, I say. We build, then file. Tight chain. He leans closer to the still. Hands clear. That's a lefty. Note it, Jane says. Right left-hand placement gate latch. I type it under the photo and align the edges. The kitchen smells like toner and coffee like the post office married the diner. My phone buzzes. Brother on screen. I put him on speaker. You're on kitchen radio, I say. Good, he says. Mail first. Any new notices? 2 fines yesterday, both ordinary mail. I say, doc order earlier stamped. Received, 03:17. Keep certified for your requests, he says. Jane lives there. On the video, call out 03:15 in your captions. Judges like clean clocks. Jane slides 2 pages side by side. On the left, the HOA 12-07 excerpt we highlighted. On the right, the easement paragraph with the county seal laminated and a little proud. Read me the contrast, my brother says. Jane HOA cites unauthorized structure conflicting with shoreline plan. County easement grants riparian access and dock within setback. Perfect, he says. In your TTRO cover say, petitioners seek narrow relief, no approach to mailbox, gate, dock, or home. Keep it neighborly and firm. Copy, I say. Buddy points at the smear folder. Where do the Facebook screenshots live? Timeline online, I say. We'll stack them by hour, then overlay the plate hits. Jane marks the hours on a yellow pad, drawing a thin horizontal line with 3 notches, 22, 44, 22, 57, 03, 15. And doc orders stamped 03:17, she adds. It's a rhythm. The printer coughs. I slide a TTRO cover page in front, Summers v. Jameson et al., emergency petition. Jane staples the exhibit list A1, hand on latch, 03:15, Shai. A2 plate hits 22, 44, 22, 57. A3, easement certified. A4, HOA, FIRA 12-07, excerpt. A5, online timeline. A6, doc order, received, 03:17. Witnesses, Buddy asks. Clerk for certification, Jane says. Buddy for curb camera install. Happy to swear to screws and timestamps, he says. I dial the post office. Need 3 certified bundles, I tell the clerk. 2 addressed to HOA Board Counsel, 1 to our records. Bring them before 4, she says. We'll stamp and log. On our way, I say. We pivot back to the board. I print the hearing request form, the lines thin and officious. Jane writes in her calm script, petition to set special hearing. Agenda, item, shoreline, map discrepancy, and notice practice. My brother's voice rides back in. Cite mailbox jurisdiction on your cover city right-of-way and federal custody. Only say what's necessary. Necessary is plenty, I say. Jane builds the witness list as we talk, clerk certified records. Buddy install plus logs. Detective chain of custody confirmation. Brother mail chain validation if needed. She leaves the last slot marked contingent. We won't lead with a badge unless Karen insists. Buddy eyes the easement sheet again. Side by side is mean. Side by side is mercy, Jane says. We're giving them an exit. The paper sorter ticks to the next slot. Silent beat. I lay the dock order copy under the easement, the embossed county seal catching the kitchen light. The HOA's clipped sentence looks small beside the recorded paragraph. Photos, my brother says. Then laminate your cover. I shoot a freeze frame of the hand on latch with the Euro 315 tag visible. Then the side-by-side statutes, then the plate hits in a row like teeth. The laminator sighs the cover through and it emerges slick, ready for fingerprints. Jane flips the binder closed and checks the spine. The header looks like a courthouse shelf. Doc Q T. Packet filed, Fair 12-07, received. She breathes once and the room seems to square. Post office, she says. We carry the packets under an old sky. The post office counter smells like paper and oil. The clerk in blue gloves counts envelopes, slides the green cards over. Initials, she says. Return receipt. Yes, I say. 2. We sign. She stamps each bundle with neat percussion that feels like progress. Back home, we lay the receipts inside the binder date facing out. Buddy clicks the curb cam feed one last time for his own log and steps back. Your map wins, he says. Our map is recorded, Jane answers. I cue the hand on latch still again. The screen holds that moment like a breath caught in glass. Our porch bulb gives it a halo. The kitchen is nothing but the hum of the fridge and the certainty of lines. Caption it, Jane says. I type Exhibit A1. Hand at gate latch 0315 UV transfer consistent. I add, receipts are louder than rumors. We stand there longer than the frame deserves because frames like this almost never arrive when you need them. Then I close the cover gently and set the binder at the center of the table. He touched the latch. She tapped the mic once. Is this thing on? And the room went silent. The HOA community hall hums with a flickering projector and the smell of coffee gone stale. Folding chairs line up like soldiers. Neighbors fill them murmuring. On the screen behind Karen, the seal of the county clerk floats above a slide marked Dock Order 12-07. Karen clears her throat. We're here to discuss safety standards and shared property expectations. She never says my name, just the homeowner. She says it the way people say the problem. The hearing transcript header glows on the secretary's laptop. 03:00 p.m. Filed in the margin. I raise my hand. Request the floor. The chair nods once. Briefly, Mr. Summers. Karen's smile is polished chrome. Please remember, this is a community meeting. Exactly, I say, stepping up, and communities keep records. The projector hum climbs as I slide a USB into the laptop. Silent beat. Exhibit A, I say. The dock removal order appears bold letters received 03-17-12-07 circled in red. This is the order I found on my windshield at 3:17 in the morning, I say. Stamped, unsigned, and served by no one. Karen folds her arms. Our administrator delivered it. Name. Our office does not disclose internal. The chair interrupts, voice dry. For the record, please state the name. She hesitates. Cole Matthews, Compliance Committee. I nod. And this order cites FAR 12-07. Let's read it next to recorded law. Slide 2 fills the screen. The easement overlay with county seal. My laminated copy gleams under the light. Paragraph 3, I read. Dock permitted within setback provided no encroachment into channel. This order claims the opposite. The map disagrees. Murmurs ripple. Someone whispers, "That's the county seal." Karen cuts in. "Those lines are outdated. Recorded 3 years after your bylaws," I reply. "You built your case on an old drawing." The chair glances between us. Proceed. Slide 3, green cards and certified slips stacked like dominoes. Certified mail chain, I say. Requests, filings, receipts all logged. Karen exhales sharply. We followed procedure. No, I say. You followed habit. I lean into the mic. Truth sounds louder when it's sworn in. A few chuckles crack the tension. The secretary keeps typing keystrokes ticking like a clock. Karen gestures to her side of the screen. Our concern remains safety and uniformity. Uniformity of what I ask. Ink fonts. Because shoreline law doesn't bend for style. Mr. Summers, Madam President. I say who authorized the order. She straightens. The board collectively signed a document using county terminology without county authority. Under oath, that's misrepresentation. The chair clears his throat. Let's keep tempers. I'm calm, I say. The paperwork's not. Slide 4, 2 license plates, 2244 and 2257 captured from our curb cam. Slide 5, the hand on the latch labeled 0315. The audience stiffens. Jane's whisper cuts through. Show the overlay. I switch again. HOA 1207 versus easement clause. The left blurs, the right glows. The room absorbs the difference like cold water. Karen's voice cracks. This isn't relevant. Everything here is about relevance, I say. And service of mail. The chair looks uneasy. You're implying fraud. I'm implying confusion, say. Fraud's what happens if confusion sends fines. Jane's eyes flick to the back row. My brother, quiet until now, rises. He doesn't flash the badge. He lets the words carry it. James Summers, he says evenly. United States Postal Inspection Service. Chairs creak. Someone mutters, Federal. He nods to the board. Mail jurisdiction crosses this room. If you use the United States mail to deliver documents falsely implying government authority, that's misrepresentation under Title 18. Karen stammers, We were just notifying. He steps closer. You called it served. That word matters. Served implies lawful process. You didn't have it. The chair's pen stills. The projector fan slows like holding its breath. He gestures to the exhibit slide. Your letterhead carries no county or court signature yet use the phrase removal order. You distributed it by windshield and ordinary mail. Both fail chain of custody standards. Karen swallows. Are you accusing? He stops her gently. Not accusing. Clarifying for the minutes. I take back the mic. Request that the certified easement clerk's plat and this transcript be entered into record, and that the Kiaru 12 EO7 dock order be rescinded as misapplied. The chair exhales. Noted. Jane speaks softly but clear. We didn't start a fight. We answered one. Buddy, from row 3, mutters and brought better paperwork. Laughter, quick and nervous. Karen bangs the table. This is harassment. My brother shakes his head. This is jurisdiction. I glance toward the secretary. Please note, Inspector Summers has verified the mail chain as official and logged. She nods. Entered. The mic clicks feedback, sighing through the speakers. I let it fade. Silent beat. Madam President, I say quietly, you've now confirmed under oath that this order was hand-delivered without certification and cites a non-recorded map. That is a procedural violation at minimum. Karen's jaw locks. You can't threaten me. Not threatening, I say. Just reading what's already written. My brother folds his arms. And, for the record, the United States Postal Inspection Service acknowledges receipt of copies today, 03:45 p.m. The secretary types the last line, acknowledged. I close my binder. Jane places her hand over mine. The easement copy edges worn slides inside. Buddy leans in from his row. Guess the map wins again. Maps, remember what people forget, I tell him. The chair taps the gavel, once voice soft. Meeting adjourned, but no one moves. The projector hum lingers, haloing the seal on screen. Karen's lips part, searching for a word that doesn't arrive. I lean toward the mic one final time. For the minutes I say this doc is lawful, recorded, and permitted within setback. And the only thing out of line tonight, I pause, let the silence bite, was your envelope. The mic light dies to red. My brother slips his badge back into his jacket. You've just read a federal offense into the minutes. The clerk's pen scratched once, and the sound was louder than any gavel. Silent beat. The courthouse light was soft, filtered through frosted glass. Jane's hand brushed mine under the table. The binder lay open between us, its spine straight like a soldier on parade. The judge leaned forward, reading each page with the slow care of someone who knows paper has teeth. We have before us a petition alleging improper notice, falsified correspondence, and misuse of statutory language. He paused, eyes flicking to the HOA lawyer, counsel. The man in the navy suit stood halfway, his voice a cautious thread. Your Honor, the board acted in good faith. The order was taped to a windshield at 3:17 in the morning. The judge interrupted, tapping his pen. Without signature or certification. My brother, uniform, plain badge tucked away, shifted his weight behind us. Certified mail logs confirm that statement, he said. Chain verified by USPS. The courtroom stilled. Paper rustled. Someone coughed near the back. Jane lifted her chin. We're not asking for damages. We're asking for daylight. The judge's mouth twitched. Light it is. He turned a page. County easement recorded and embossed. Here 1207 misapplied. Internal map unrecorded. The evidence is thorough. The HOA lawyer tried again. There was confusion. There was negligence. The judge corrected. And confusion doesn't write orders. He signed once, twice. Ink whispered against fiber. Temporary injunction granted. The clerk reached for the stamp, pressed it down, seal County of Lexington, filed 10:02 a.m., and slid the paper across. Jane's whisper barely carried. We just reversed them. On paper, I said, that's enough for today. But the judge wasn't done. He looked at the clerk. Prepare an order to seal all HOA shoreline enforcement records pending review. Petitioners will be granted temporary oversight to preserve the files. The HOA lawyer blinked. You're giving them access. I'm giving them responsibility, the judge said. Sometimes that's heavier. He glanced at my brother. Inspector, you'll witness the custody transfer. My brother nodded. Yes, Your Honor. The clerk's pen moved again. Crisp final. Temporary transfer of oversight order issued this day. She looked to me. Mr. Summers, Mrs. Summers sign for receipt. Jane took the pen first. Her signature flowed measured. I followed. The nib scraped deliberate. The clerk initialed beneath ours, then held up a small tray, 2 brass keys on a tag sealed in red foil. These open the HOA compliance room, she said. Inventory only. Nothing removed without supervision. The HOA lawyer mumbled, This is irregular. So was your midnight notice, Jane said evenly. Silent beat. The judge didn't smile, but the corner of his mouth tilted as if he wanted to. We followed the clerk down the hall. The courthouse corridor smelled of toner and rain-soaked coats. Our footsteps echoed off tile. Inside administration, the clerk unlocked a steel drawer and withdrew a thin ledger. Record of custody, she said. Sign and date. I wrote slowly. Scott Summers, 10:14 a.m. Jane signed beneath. My brother's initials followed small square exact. The clerk added hers last, sealing it with another sharp stamp. She lifted the keys again, but didn't release them yet. Understand something, she said quietly. Paper is evidence, not power. I know, I said. Power forgets. Paper doesn't. We crossed the street to the HOA suite, a modest tan building with too many rules posted on its glass door. The lawyer trailed us muttering into his phone. The clerk kept the order in her hand like a lantern. The key turned. Inside the file room smelled of dust and laminate. Metal shelves lined both sides, boxes stacked high, hand-labeled in shaky pen. Notices, 2022. Bylaws, amendments. Fines, pending. Jane began the inventory log aloud. Box 1, Notices 2022. Box 2, Bylaws. Box 3, Shoreline Plans. The clerk wrote each line into the logbook, time-stamping every entry. Tick, tick. Photos, my brother said. Each label, each shelf. I clicked the shutter. Documented 10/27. The HOA lawyer rubbed his temple. You're treating this like a crime scene. It's not a crime scene, I said. It's history catching up. He looked at the floor. Karen didn't authorize this. Jane snapped another photo. Karen's absence is her choice. We didn't touch the boxes beyond their lids. We just counted logged verified. The clerk's voice filled the quiet order. Compliance confirmed 10/41. She initialed the page and handed the pen to me. Sign beneath mine. I did. The ink shone wet under the fluorescent light. Outside, we returned to the courthouse counter to copy the injunction. The clerk fed it through the embosser, each press a soft thud. She stapled one certified copy to our file and handed another to the lawyer. Your next step, she said, is filing the inventory report within 48 hours. Return keys upon certification. Understood, Jane said. My brother nodded. I'll co-sign your report. The lawyer muttered, This all feels punitive. It's preventive, I said. The difference is paperwork. He didn't answer. At the post office, sunlight cut through the lobby glass. We mailed 2 certified envelopes, one to the HOA board, one to the court clerk. The counter staff stamped them with clean percussion. Received 11:09 a.m. Jane pocketed the receipts. That's every loop closed. Almost, I said. One left to turn. Outside, the courthouse clock struck 11:30. We stopped on the steps. My brother removed his sunglasses and watched the keys glint in my palm. They'll try to paint this as overreach, he said. They can try, I said. But the record's already inked. He smiled faintly. Funny thing about paper, it keeps score. Jane slipped her hand into mine and remembers who touched it last. I turned the keys once their edges warm from the sun and slid them back into my pocket beside the injunction. The metal clinked against the stamped envelope, a quiet rhythm of justice settling into place. The courthouse doors hissed shut behind us, leaving the echo of that pen-scratch small final louder than any gavel. Refund checks make a softer sound than apologies, but they last longer. The clubhouse smells like lemon cleaner and coffee that's been warming too long. Afternoon light sifts through Venetian blinds, banding the long table where envelopes sit in neat rows. A recording mic blinks red on the podium. The remaining board members look smaller without Karen at the center. On a corkboard in the back, a flyer reads, Special Meeting Refunds and Records. Someone taped our temporary transfer of oversight notice beside it, the seal puckered where the pin went through. I place the keys on the table edge tag sealed in red foil facing up. They catch the light like proof understands how to pose. Buddy leans in, voice low. You dressing them up for the camera? They dress themselves, I say. We just gave them a stage. The treasurer clears his throat into the mic. This session addresses refunding improperly assessed fines, notice practice, and a change in leadership. Paper shuffles. A list slides onto the lectern. Effective. Today, the board authorizes full refunds for 27 citations issued under the misapplied shoreline enforcement policy. A ripple goes through the room. Chairs creak. Someone whispers, about time. He starts reading names. Refund notice copies, white stamped, approved, thump into a tray one by one. Each envelope a quiet verdict. Jane watches hands, folded shoulders finely lower than the week before. The treasurer looks up. We regret the inconvenience and... the tone of recent communications. A woman in the second row raises her hand. Is regret the word we're using? He hesitates. It's the word we can put in the minutes. The applause is polite, short like heat lightning far off. The secretary steps forward. Next item, leadership. Her voice shakes, steadies. Karen Jameson has resigned as president effective immediately. She clicks a slide. Resignation received with a timestamp. The board appoints an interim chair until elections. Buddy exhales through his teeth. That's a sound I could nap to. The mic light holds steady. The secretary slides a fresh document onto the lectern. Final item acknowledgments from outside agencies. Inspector Summers. My brother stands from the back row. No dramatics, only posture and the cadence of someone who lives by logs. He places a one-page memo on HOA letterhead beside the mic. The header shows yesterday's date. The footer carries the board's P.O. box like a label made honest. For the record, he says this memorandum confirms that the United States Postal Inspection Service reviewed materials relevant to the Summers case and found no evidence of misuse of the mails by the petitioners. Their certified chain is clean and complete. He lifts his eyes from the page. We also provided guidance to the board to not use phrases like served or order unless lawful process is followed. Clarity is neighborly. Precision is lawful. A man near the door raises a hand. So, the dock is legal. The dock is recorded, Jane says, measured. And the easement is older than opinions. The room chuckles small and grateful. My brother continues. The memo recognizes the petitioner's efforts to preserve records without alteration. On behalf of this office, thank you for building a clean file. I set a finger on the keys, rotate the tag so the seal faces the crowd. They'll be returned when the inventory report is filed. The treasurer glances at me. Do you want to address the room, Mr. Summers? I look at Jane. She nods once. We're not here to gloat, I say, stepping to the mic. We're here to put the right nouns next to the right verbs. A refund is not an apology, but it is an act. A resignation is not a resolution, but it is a start. Buddy calls from the third row. Say the line. Jane's smile is small private. Not yet. I hold up the refund notice the treasurer handed me the stamp, shining dull red. Paper is slow, I say, but when it moves the room. The secretary clicks a final slide. Acknowledgement entered. The recording mic blinks faster as if the story itself wants in. My brother steps to the side of the podium reading the last paragraph of the memo. The community benefited from documentation, not volume. Precision over posture. And to those who kept their ground, he glances at Jane. Finally, someone fought back. The applause breaks before he finishes the line. It rolls from the back wall and folds over itself, not wild, not vengeful, just relieved. Silent beat on the tail end as hands soften and fall. The treasurer lifts the tray and starts calling residents to the table. Envelopes swap hands. People don't say much. A nod, a thank you. The kind of relief that shows up as eye contact again. A reporter from the local paper raises a phone. Photo, Jane nudges the keys toward the frame. Include these, she says. They're going back soon. Can I quote you, the reporter asks. Quote the memo, Jane answers. Quote the refunds. Buddy leans on the aisle chair. Quote the wife, he says. Trust me. My brother signs the acknowledgement line at the bottom of the memo copy for the minutes. The pen squeaks quick and sure. He caps it like he's sealing a jar. The interim chair, a gray-bearded neighbor who once argued with me about fence lattice, steps to the mic. Thank you to everyone who came. We'll run elections next month. We'll also schedule a workshop with the county clerk on recorded maps and notice practice. We're going to get this right. A woman in the front row lifts her envelope. Do we still have to ask permission for flowers that aren't on a list? He grins. We're going to get that right too. Laughter lands easier now. The applause returns shorter and brighter like the first clean day after a storm. I pick up the keys and turn to my brother. Walk them back with me. Wouldn't miss it, he says. At the door, a neighbor I barely know stops us. I believed the rumors, he admits. I was wrong. Thank the paper, I say, tapping the memo. It did the heavy lifting. Outside, the lake lies still as glass. Our dock sits where it always has, small and stubborn as a sentence that finally learned how to be clear. Jane slips her arm through mine. The clubhouse behind us murmurs with chairs, envelopes, and voices finding normal. Buddy catches up breath easy for the first time in days. Feels different, he says. It is, Jane answers. Because now the file matches the truth. I look down at the keys one more time. Ordinary brass red seal, a little scuffed from today's work, and feel their weight for what it is permission to close the loop. We start toward the office to lock the door we opened. I squeeze Jane's hand. We didn't just keep a dock, I say. We kept our ground. The lake's calm again, only this time it's earned. Smoke from the BBQ drifts low across the cove, sweet and peppery. Paper plates clack. Kids run figure eights between coolers. The dock holds steady in the evening light, its shadow long and thin like a rule laid across blue. On the bulletin board by the boathouse door, a new flyer is pinned under a BBQ receipt. 10 racks, 2 pans of beans. 1 sheet cake with a stamped paid in the corner. Next to it, someone tacked a photocopy of the updated bylaws service rules. Clarified map sources cited the word served, guarded like a valve. A handwritten arrow says, read before arguing. The new board rep, a quiet engineer with careful hands, steps onto the dock with an envelope. Custody log, he says. Keys come home tonight. I place the keys in his palm, the red foil seal scuffed to a dull ring from weeks of pockets and countertops. All inventoried. Report filed. Locks are yours again. He flips the tag and nods. Appreciate how you handled it. Paper did the heavy lifting, I say. Still, he answers, someone had to carry it. Silent beat. A small wave laps the boards like a satisfied breath. Jane sets 2 glasses on the rail. Condensation beads and slides leaving bright tracks. We should mark this, she says. To what? To accuracy, she says. To patience that doesn't blink. Buddy appears with a platter. To gutters we'll never measure again. Laughter loosens the pilings. Even the wind seems to go easy. From the porch, a guitar finds a slow 2-string drone. The porch light clicks on. Moths already know the choreography. The plaque waits at the end of the dock under a burlap cover, its small flush to the timber 4 screws showing like honest rivets. The board rep clears his throat. Neighbors, he says not loud. Thanks for coming. Today, the association filed amended notice procedures and adopted the county plat as controlling for shoreline questions. He lifts a hand to the burlap. We also wanted a marker that says what we learned. Jane nods toward the plaque. Lift it. He peels the cover back. Brass catches sky. Easement, upheld 2025. Below it, smaller letters, recorded maps rule. Notices serve truth. No one claps at first. They just breathe, and the dock seems to settle deeper into what it already was. A boy in rolled-up jeans steps forward. He toes the water quick and brave, and the ripple throws a thin band of light across the new brass. The reflection winks and steadies. About sums it up, Buddy says. Close, Jane answers. We're missing the part about stubborn. Stubborn's implied, I say. The local paper's reporter angles a phone. One quote. Make it the short one, Jane says. I rest a hand on the plaque, feel its low heat. Peace takes maintenance, but so does freedom. The reporter smiles. That'll fit. Neighbors drift past the table collecting plates and envelopes. The new bylaws copy gets thumbprinted and smudged in the margins. Someone asks which charcoal we used. Someone else wants the bean recipe. It's boring in the best new way. The board rep offers the custody envelope back for me to sign return completed. There were a few rough meetings, he says. They taught us the language, I say. Now we can read each other. Jane raises her glass. To maps that outlast moods. To docks that mind their setbacks, Buddy says. To neighbors who show up when it counts, the board rep adds. We touch rims and drink. The guitar drifts into a tune that knows 3 chords and doesn't need more. Kids drop stones through clear water, the plunks skipping down the bank like soft punctuation. A woman from 2 streets over comes by with a tray of buttered rolls. I believed every rumor she says to Jane. Then I read the minutes. Jane smiles. Minutes don't shout. They didn't have to, she says, and moves on. From the hill porch, lights wink on in a slow, uneven wave. A row of flamingos, someone kept them just to be contrary, tilts into the breeze like pink metronomes. The clubhouse doors stand open. Air moves through, not around. Buddy leans on the rail. Think anyone will miss the old regime, maybe the drama, I say. Jane tilts her head. We replaced it with work. My phone buzzes against the wood, 1 new email from the clerk, inventory accepted. Keys received. File closed. I show it to Jane, then the board rep. He pockets the keys like they're just metal again. We'll keep them labeled, he says. And boring. Boring has a good return, I say. The guitar fades. Someone claps twice out of habit, then laughs. Plates stack. The last of the ribs goes fast. A charcoal bag crumples with the flat gasp of a job finished. We walk to the end of the dock. The plaque rides steady. The lake gives us back 2 thin, exact reflections. Somewhere a screen door snaps, and then thinks better of it. Buddy wipes sauce from his fingers and points at the far shore. You remember those first finds? I remember the first notice, I say. I remember where I put it in the binder. Jane sets her glass down and threads her arm through mine. I remember who signed what. Paper remembers too, Buddy says. The applause from the clubhouse fades to quiet talk. The wave lap returns regular as breathing. A breeze carries the last smoke away and brings a cooler smell. Wet rope lake, weed cedar. I look down at the plaque one more time. The screws hold true. The letters keep their lines even when the water moves. The brass doesn't brag. Jane touches the edge, then my wrist. We still mow, she says. We still check the gate. We still read envelopes. Peace takes maintenance, I say. But so does freedom. We stand there a moment longer, letting earned quiet do its work. The dock doesn't change. It just becomes undeniable. The lake doesn't perform. It simply keeps. Behind us, someone adds a fresh log to the grill, and the first thin flame finds its footing. We turn toward the voices, toward the work that isn't dramatic but now finally is shared. We didn't move, we didn't shout, we kept our ground. And tonight, the water agrees. The plaque catches the sunset, the brass seal warming under light that no longer feels conditional. Around the dock, neighbors linger talking, laughing, rewriting what silence once owned. The new bylaws hang beside the old notice, stamped and dated proof that order can change without breaking. I run a thumb over the lettering, the edge cool and certain. We didn't win by shouting. We won by staying on record. Justice isn't loud, it's steady. And when the last ripple settles, I know this lake will keep our story because finally someone fought back. Share your HOA story below your map, might help someone redraw theirs.